Now, Bitcoin is expected to hit the $100,000 mark this year. In the meantime, the South African Reserve Bank is making progress with its central bank digital currency and stable coins. Sticking with the region, Zambia is making strides on embracing cryptocurrency via regulation. Chris Maurice, CEO of Yellow Card, joins us with more detail on the crypto market moves in the respective countries. Thank you so much for your time, Chris. Now, let's actually start off with the price movements. Of course, something that is a source of pain sometimes, but also a source of a celebration. And it looks like it's been celebration this year. Just looking at that price trajectory in the current crypto cycle, all the stars aligning for crypto's biggest upside yet, even though we have seen somewhat a sideways action recently.
Yeah, well, it's great to be here. I think look, the price is always the first thing that people focus on, and it's what gets everybody out of bed in the morning. So, yeah, I think it's been sideways for a little while now, right? A couple months, but I think the big thing here is you have a lot more institutional interest that's starting to come into the space, right? You have the the ETF in the United States. You have similar products that are coming out in Asia, even in South Africa, looking at it. And so I think that there's a lot more institutional interest. But what's interesting is that you haven't actually seen institutional money flow in, right? The inflows from that ETF have been very low compared to stocks, bonds, any other sort of real institutional investment product. And so I think there's still a lot of room for growth. There's still a lot of room for real institutional capital. I mean, we're talking, hundreds of billions, up to trillions of dollars to actually flow into the space now that these products are available.
It's actually really quite interesting. So maybe there's just like a lag effect there, and really looking to more upside that is due to come in maybe the next couple of months. Let's bring it back home and talk about the regulatory developments that we have seen here in South Africa. I think just last week, the FSCA gave licenses to crypto service providers, I think 139 so far. What kind of doors does this move open?
Yeah, look, the licenses is coming out, right? South Africa is the second country behind Botswana, so keeping it in the SADC region to really formally license the space and to formally start issuing these licenses. And so I think that you're seeing all over the region a growing interest in the space. You're seeing a growing interest in innovation, in this technology, in what it can do for these economies. And so I think South Africa is certainly making the right move by formalizing the space and allowing it openly. And I think like you mentioned earlier, with Zambia and with other countries in the SADC region starting to follow, right? As South Africa moves, a lot of the countries in the region are gonna follow and going to make similar moves to start allowing the space and just opening innovation.
Well, I'm quite interesting because obviously one of the reasons for this increased regulatory focus is the fact that authorities are trying to combat crime. But I mean, it's something that we've seen in the crypto space, and I guess any new emerging space, that innovation usually runs ahead of a regulation. And I mean, with this kind of innovation still going on, is it not a possibility that even the crime aspect of it will still keep running ahead of regulation?
Yeah, look, I think the crime and any sort of bad actors is something that everybody always needs to be working to weed out, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of laws in place to stop this stuff, and it still goes on.
Yeah.
And so you can never fully stop it, right? But I think it's about making sure that everybody has the proper tools and is doing everything that they can to actually weed some of this stuff out, right? And look, in the crypto space specifically, you have a lot of tools that are not available in traditional banking that actually make it significantly safer, right? You have things like chain analysis, where you can see how money is moving between exchanges, how money is moving between wallets. You can see where it's moving, who it's moving to, how much is moving, all of that, right? It's really the power of blockchain technology and some of the transparency there.
Yeah.
Good luck doing that with a bank, right? And so it's it's one of those things where the industry obviously, gets a reputation for, criminals and, look, stuff like FTX and that kind of thing doesn't help, right?
Yeah.
But, the reality is that making these transactions through crypto, making these transactions on chain is actually significantly more transparent than making them through the banking system.
All right. Just lastly on South Africa, I know that the South African Reserve Bank has also been conducting trials for a central bank digital currency. And I think from what I understand that they've been doing those trials bank to bank, but not really from bank to consumer. What do you make of those developments, but also the kind of developments and progress that they are making in terms of trialing stable coins as well?
Yeah, bank to consumer is tough, right? Because when you're dealing with consumers, you have to change people's behavior. And I don't
Yeah.
know about you, but I mean, it takes an act of God to even get me to download an app, right? And
Same.
so, changing people's behavior is hard, right? With banks, and with interbank settlement, there's a lot that can still be improved, right? Even within the country, even for domestic transfers, there's a lot that can still be improved with interbank settlement. And so I think the SARB is targeting the right area there to go after. One thing that I would encourage though, and this is both in South Africa and then outside for countries that are looking at doing a CBDC.
Yeah.
I think that the best example of a quote unquote CBDC that exists today is stable coin, US dollar stable coins, right? Which are not actually issued directly by the Fed. It's more private companies that are actually issuing this and then investing in treasuries and investing it back in the country. And so I think that there's something to be said there for, again, allowing that innovation, right? Partnering with the private sector to enable some of this innovation and make some of this possible.
All right. Well, let's cross over to Zambia, where there seems to be a change of tone from regulators. Is this an act of God, as you said earlier?
No, I think this is something that's been going on for a while, right? Look, I mean, just with Yellow Card, we've been working with the BOZ and been in the sandbox for well over a year now, and so we've been working closely with the regulators there on how to regulate the space, right? How do you like you said, how do you protect consumers? How do you cut out crime? How do you make this safe? How do you encourage innovation in the country, right? How do you get more innovative companies, tech companies, all of that setting up, in Zambia, getting them setting up in South Africa, getting them setting up in the SADC region rather than all, going to San Francisco and
Yeah.
going to these other cities that don't even want them. And so, I think that this is something that's been coming for a while. The BOZ has done a really good job of, again, working with us, working with the private sector on figuring out what the best way to actually regulate this space is. And so, I think, they're not quite there yet. There's still obviously, quite a number of things that need to happen in Zambia for the actual regulation to, how do you say, to come out. But
Ah,
they're moving forward well.
okay.
And I think that Zambia and again the SADC region more broadly, Botswana, South Africa, all of it are countries that are making it clear that this is a space that's welcome and innovation that's welcome.
All right. And we will be looking out for more developments on that front. Thank you so much for your time and for your insights there, Chris. That was Chris Maurice, CEO of Yellow Card.